It all started as a small conversation around a dinner table and has grown into an annual event.
A small group of women together offering support and fellowship to help them achieve their goals together.
It's called With My Sisters, and today we are joined by founder OKeiyas Dinnall. OKeiyas, welcome to Believe in People.
Hey, good morning. Thank you guys so much for having me on today.
Well, I understand that this all started with a conversation you had around a dinner table. Wow, that must have been quite the conversation. Can you share with us how With My Sisters was created?
Yes. So again, 2017, October, I have two friends, which are actually cousins, but we really never got together because we're different in age. But this particular day, we were sitting down at my dinner table and we just started talking. I don't have sisters. So I've always said, Lord, I just want a whole lot of sisters. And so that day we were talking and I said, what would it be if we just invited a group of women, gave them dinner, gave them some gifts, and made them feel special. And so we was like, okay, well, what are we going to call it? And we said, Megan said, well, let's call it Dinner with My Sisters. And that's how it started, by just wanting to do a dinner for women and make them feel special.
Does it work?
Yes. We put our money together, our resources. We got out, asked different people if they would donate like different type of women pampering gifts. My husband, he's from Jamaica, so we got him and one of his friends to cook a Jamaican family style dinner. And that December of 2017, we had our first dinner. We had about 65 women show up.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. And OKeiyas, your mission is, I'm going to read it, is, With My Sisters, is to help women discover their hidden treasures. And you're providing a platform for women to reach their purpose through sisterly activities, training, and development, giving them the tools needed to serve their communities. So more specifically, how is this accomplished?
Well, I pray a whole lot. And in school, I was bullied a lot. I never fit into the popular kids. And I find that even today in society, that you have people of all walks of life who are so gifted. And, I'm just geared to helping women, but if men come along, I will help them too. But to help women come out of their shell, especially when they've had tragedy and trauma in their life and they feel like that they can't never bounce back from anything. So we do this by doing encouragement and empowerment conferences. We have one called Cake, Coffee, and Conversation, where I have different people come in. We deal with healing, we deal with mental issues, giving them the tools to be able to break free from cycles and staying stuck. I tell people, you're not your issue, you're not your trauma, and you're not your tragedy, but your gifts that you have inside of you, they need to be pulled out and be utilized here in the earth.
Tell me a little bit about, in this particular day and age, what sort of issues do you feel that women in particular are facing, be it single parenthood, be it having a number of children and you're trying to raise them, being the pressures of the economy? Of course, we always mention that we've just gone through this pandemic where we've all been isolated at home. What sorts of things do you feel women are dealing with today? Back in the olden days, and I'm talking about my grandmothers and great grandmothers, where they had sewing bees and circles, for example, like that. This almost sounds like a takeoff on that in many ways.
It is pulling women together. Like you said, single parenthood. Women wear a lot of hats. They're mothers, they're wives, single mothers, doctors, lawyers, whatever they have to be in a situation. And a lot of times women don't take care of themselves. Some of them are battling depression, battling mental illness. but just not knowing how to go get help, or afraid of what people are going to say or think if they say, I need help, I need to go to therapy. I'm having a safe place to be able to talk to. And that's what one of the things with my sisters, I tell them whatever is spoken or said in our meetings, it doesn't go anywhere, because you need to have a safe haven. You need to feel love, and then you need to have someone that's gonna encourage you and lift you up, not ridicule you. And society makes it that you got to look this way, you got to make this certain amount of money. If you're not doing this or that, then you're not living up to the standard. And when you got that mom at home that's a single mom with 3 and 4 kids, and she's working 2 and 3 jobs, trying to make ends meet, and can't get any help or any assistance, but she goes in the bathroom and cry at night because she doesn't want her to see her kids crying. She needs a place where she can feel love and say, "Hey, I need $100 to pay my light bill," and nobody's not judging her. I'm having this problem. I got an addiction and I don't know how to break it. I'm an emotional eater. I eat emotion. I don't know how to get this weight off because my husband is saying that I weigh too much or I'm too fat. They need a place to be able to come and feel love and let them know that you're special just the way you are, but we're going to help you get out of this rut.
And OKeiyah, from that, how then, where did you seek your love then? So you mentioned you were bullied as a child, just didn't kind of fit in. How did you break out of that and find your self-esteem and confidence?
Well, my husband, I tell people every day that God sent my husband to me because I had mental illness. I had dealt with depression, and after me and my husband got married, he realized that I needed to go to therapy, and he actually took me to therapy and to a psychiatrist. But it was finally my mom had brought me a book called "Commanding Your Morning" by Dr. Cindy Trim, and she had gave me that book a long time ago. And finally, one day, I had turned 40 years old, and just seemed like everything in my life was just in shambles for a minute. And I picked that book up and began to read, and learning the positivity of words, and really understanding who God was and who He created me to be. And I began changing my language, the way that I would speak, even about myself. And I just began to see the words that I spoke begin to come to life and manifest in my life. So I had to begin to change my way of thinking. And therapy really helped me get through some things that I had went through, the bullying. I was molested as a child, and therapy really helped me get through those things and be able to talk about it, but then really grasping the whole that God said that He created me to be His masterpiece, that I was His handiwork, and that I was beautiful. I had to also begin speaking to myself and believing those things and speaking those things over me. So I started a lot by journaling and just started doing affirmations like I am special, I am beautiful, I am smart. Saying affirmations every day. And that's one thing I work with the women with, believing in themselves, but also being able to speak positivity over themselves and not speaking negative.
So I'm going to ask a double-edged question here,
Hmm.
because you are all of those things that you just said that you set out to be. Um, but I'm also going to ask you. So the main secret is you got to find a husband that's going to cook you a jerk chicken. Is that it?
That would help. That would help. But
So,
the the main
so
the main secret, and you can sort of see that I love God. So the main component is God, and letting God love you and teaching
right,
you how to love
right.
yourself. I tell people, if you say that you love God and God created us, then how can you not love yourself, because we are His creation? So it starts
Well,
with that. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add on to that because I'm glad you laughed. And that it was going to be my question. Aside from assistance and counseling and sisterhood, is there a lot of laughter that takes place in these meetings, in these dinners? Because laughter is one of the greatest cures of all.
It is. I love to laugh. Um, Probably in a different life, I might would try to be a comedian, because I love for people. I love for people to laugh, and I like making people laugh. And so we do. We have laughter. Um, we talk a lot. We go on women's retreats where we get matching pajamas and we sing karaoke and sing to the top of our lungs and just having a good time laughing. We celebrate each other's birthdays. We make everybody feel special, and we do. We have fun. It's these ladies that's with me now is like they're really, really my sisters. Like we have big sleepovers and we bring all kind of snacks and just watch movies. I think one movie we got together and we watched Mulan. We all love Disney, some of us. We watched Charlotte's Web on our last movie get together. We watched Aladdin. So we just get together and giggle and act like big kids, getting away from the kids to act like a kid.
That's fantastic. And I think, Okeiyah, from that point, so you're empowering women and girls everywhere. My question, I guess, is do you feel this is more important today than years past? I mean, do you feel that we need, we need to, there are more resources now, or do we feel that because of all of the circumstances around the pandemic and feeling isolated and burnout, that this is more prevalent now? I mean, what's your take on that?
I think we need it now more than ever, and especially for our younger girls, the younger generation, because, like you said, because of the pandemic and then the isolation, and the kids now are more tech savvy. They're more on their phones. Like I remember my daughter and her best friend riding in the back seat, and I didn't hear them talking. And I said, "Well, how come you're not talking?" They say, "Oh, we're just texting each other." So they've become more of isolated, more even with their electronics or seeking friendship, through the world through trying to find a friend or trying to find somebody to love them on the web. So I think having these gatherings in these circles now is very, very important so that they can know that they are loved, and they are special. We help widows and veteran women as well. Just trying to reach all different walks of life, letting them know that you're welcome into this circle and this is a safe place for you. But I really feel like it is needed now because the world tells our young girls what they're supposed to look like, and you got to be this skinny, or you got to look like this, or you got to look like that in order to be loved. And I feel like somebody needs to say to them, you are special just the way you are. It doesn't matter if you're 200 pounds or if you're 90 pounds, or if you got long hair or short hair, if you got brown eyes or blue eyes. You don't have to change anything because the world tells you that you have to change, and you don't.
You're an evangelist. You're a deeply religious person. The story that you've just described about children perhaps becoming more detached from society because of the electronic accomplishments that have taken place in our world. What about religion? Has religion, in your view, become a little detached from who we are? Is there anything that you see the church, no matter which one, trying to do in order to reconnect with so much of our population that many people seem lost?
I think the church is different a little bit, and then even being parents. I remember my mom, no matter what, I had to go to church. I couldn't do anything else until I went to church. And sometimes I would fight it, not wanting to go. When I got 18, I was like, I'm not going to church anymore. I'm tired of church. But the seeds were planted in me. The word of God was planted in me. And the Bible says, train up a child in the way that they should go. And when they get old, they will not depart from their faith. And I think now a lot of people don't take their kids to church. They let the kids do what they want to do or say what they want to say. But even the church as a component, I believe they could do more to be able to come outside of the church to reach. That's why I'm thankful for with my sisters because we're not inside the walls of the church. The church is us. The church is me, you, the body coming together and being able to go out anywhere we go. So I love it that we're outside of the walls of the church. And when they see us, they just don't see everybody just dressed up in suits. They see us in blue jeans and t-shirts. They see us out on the street helping and giving. I actually just joined a committee called the Cedar Grove Improvement Association, and we're trying to do something to gear up getting the youth more involved. We're having a meet and greet this Sunday afternoon and let the youth have a table talk to be able to say what it is that they want, what it is that they need, and get a voice. I want the youth to be able to have a voice, and I feel like that sometimes we don't give them a voice to speak.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. And OKeiyah, how do you keep your organization going? It's a not for profit? How do you seek your funding?
We are a nonprofit. We do a lot of fundraising. Every June or July, we have a plate sale. Like right now, we're getting geared up for a teddy bear drive. It's called BBB teddy bears, blankets, and juice boxes. And we ask people for the donations for this project because we donate these items to a child advocacy center in Wabble, North Carolina that helps kids that's been molested and abused. And then our scholarship, we ask for donations. We send out letters. We do fundraisers. We're in the process of applying for a few grants, and then the sisters that are a part of With My Sisters, we give like $20 every month to help keep the account going and the account build up.
Well, so this also, I mean, it's amazing. The people that we meet on this little program of ours are so varied and come from such diverse backgrounds, and yet you know the thing that happens is that people like yourself come up with an idea to help other people. You're not relying on some big mega charity or megalopolis company or anything. It comes from a kitchen table idea. You're helping your neighbors, you're helping your sisters, as you call it. What do the people that come to your gatherings, your circles, your dinners, what do they say to you about what they've learned in your group?
Like the last one we had, our last event in December, I've gotten a lot of thank yous. People are just happy to feel free to have a space. I've had in one of our events, there was a lady who had been molested, and she was about 60 years old now. And for the first time, she was able to open up and talk about it. So it's a freedom there for the women and people. Like you said, we cry, we laugh, but they're like, okay, when is your next thing? When's the next time you're doing something? And I say, people just get delivered from the bondage of feeling broken and depressed. Could you imagine being molested as a child and now you're 60 years old and for the first time you're able to talk about it, but you've been holding it all these years. It's kept you in bondage, and finally now you can talk about it, you could cry about it, and you're able to move on with the next phase of your life.
And you know you're safe.
And you're safe. And it's not going anywhere. Like don't give any names or anything, but just an example of the safety that they feel to be able to say, hey, this happened to me. And it lets people know that you're not the only one. You're not the only one that's been raped. You're not the only one that's been addicted to alcohol. You're not the only one that's been depressed. You're not the only one that if you feel broken, this is the place you can come and be yourself, and you don't have to wear a mask. A lot of times we get up and we put a smile on our face and we go out the door, but yet we are broken and beat down on the inside. And this place, you take the mask off so that you can be free to walk, and then you can find the joy. You don't have to hide behind the mask. You can find your peace, you can find your happiness, and then you can move on to walk in the freedom to be who you are without being bound, without
And
holding on to darkness.
exactly. And OKeiyah, what's really fascinating is that I've noticed that as people were declaring in 2022 all of their struggles, I mean, really, I hadn't seen in years past how many declarations, I think, of honesty and vulnerability to say, I've had a really hard year. I don't know how I could have actually made it through without certain resources, or I struggled, lost my job, lost work, suffered from depression, suicidal thoughts. And so you're so you're declaring this really for the first time, and yet you're the resource that actually walks the talk or walks the walk. You're really that next level to say, I'm here for you.
And that's what we want to be. So many times you can go to a big empowerment conference and it has a million of people there. And for that moment in that conference, you feel empowered. But when you leave, that weekend is over and you leave everybody and you go home and you walk back into that abuse, you walk back into that, like you said, maybe not having a job, you walk back and the alcohol bottle was sitting there and there's nobody to walk you through it. There's nobody that you could pick the phone up because you went and paid all this money to go to these big conferences. And I'm not knocking those big conferences, but I'm just saying what happens when you leave that conference and you have nobody to reach out to.
Mm-hmm.
A part of this process, you need someone to walk you through till you are able to stand on your own two feet.
Isn't it funny that, you use the word freedom a lot in our discussion today, and I keep thinking about the word freedom. And here we are, supposedly in the freest place in the world. We're free to order anything that we want to eat on the line. We're free to buy anything we want. We're free to watch 10,000 channels of TV when we want. And yet, so many people are feeling so isolated. What does freedom mean to you?
Freedom to me means that I can wake up in the morning and I have my right mind and I'm able to get up and have a smile on my face. I'm able to be happy with the skin that I'm in. I'm happy when I can look in the mirror and I can say, I love myself, because for a long time I didn't love myself. For a long time I was depressed. For a long time the things that happened to me when I was little kept me in a bondage and I wasn't free to be me. I wasn't free. Now I can tell you what I like. I like pink and purple. I like sparkles. I like wearing white after Labor Day. Who said you can't wear white after Labor Day? Okay. I am 48 years old and I go to Disney World by myself and have a good time because I like Winnie the Pooh. And that to me, that's freedom. Because for a long time, I didn't know what I liked. For a long time, I was just, my kids are Chelsea and Nick. I was Chelsea and Nick's mom. I was Frey's wife. I was so and so daughter. I didn't have an identity. So freedom to me is meaning having my identity and I'm okay. You might not like me. You might not like me wearing lime green all the time, but it's okay. I love myself and I can put it on and I can be okay. I can wear sparkles on my fingers and on my toes and on my shoes. And I don't care. I'm 48 years old. I'm wearing sparkles. And to me, that's a freedom because so many people are bound in their mind. They're bound in their issues. They're bound by what people think, and they are not free to be themselves. So freedom to me is being myself.
Good for you. Good for you. I think there's a book there. I think With My Sisters should write the next book on how to be free with sparkles on it. I think that's the next.
Isn't it so interesting, though, that the freedom that you describe is so simple? Perhaps all of these other things that we're being bombarded with are attempts to make us feel free, but the real freedom is coming from within your own soul.
Yes. That's why I do not watch a lot of TV. I don't, because TV can bound you up yourself. If you really I tell the kids, I said, you are what you feed yourself. So if you feed yourself and your soul a lot of junk and a lot of stuff that's not happy stuff, that's how you're going to just start walking around feeling like, oh, I need to do this. And nothing with Beyonce, but a lot of female girls like, oh, I need to look like Beyonce. No, Beyonce was born Beyonce. You were born whatever your name is. That's how you were born. I was born to be OKeiyas, not Beyonce. If God wanted me to be Beyonce, my name would have been Beyonce. So he created me OKeiyas. So you get pink, pink, sparkles, and purple all the time. My sisters be like, I know. What color do you want this flyer? I know. It's got to have some pink in it. Yes. And I say, one day you're going to see me driving a pink Cadillac. That's
We'll
how
be
much I
watching
like
for you. Okeiyah, with so you're really helping to destigmatize. I'm hearing a lot of it's so important to unmask yourself. There's a recently over the holidays, Vivienne Westwood. So Vivienne Westwood was a famous designer, and she really started the grunge generation. And so she passed away. But her biggest point was, especially because she was a designer, ironically, she said, "Stop shopping, stop buying stuff. Everything you have is within, like, curate your own things, curate your own mind, curate what you have in your closet." So that you're speaking to that, is that embrace yourself, embrace who you are, love yourself.
Yeah, I've been wearing glasses ever since I was in kindergarten, and I used to imagine being picked on and bullied ever since kindergarten because of glasses. Or I used to have wear a patch over my eye, and I used to, when contacts came out, I wanted contacts. The doctor was like, with the way my eye is, you can't do contacts or surgery. So I had to embrace and be thankful for my glasses that I'm able to see. I had to break that noise of where I used to get, oh, four eyes or frog eyes or bug eyes, and I'm like, okay, I love my glasses. They help me see. I can get any color glasses I want. I've had purple glasses, I've had pink glasses, whatever glasses, and I can make them to fit my personality. So those are the things that we have to help people break the names and the labels that they have been called that haunts them, and tell them, no, you're not that. And that's it. Create your own space. Create whatever you want to wear. Create how you want to look. Do your hair the way that you want to. My son, one day his hair is purple, and the next day is green, and the next day is yellow. But that's him expressing himself. Who am I to say don't color your hair that way?
I want to ask, this has been a great conversation, and I really do hope that someday Beyonce listens into our little show and hears what you had to say. I think you could teach Beyonce quite a few things, to be frank with you. And our last
Actually, she's on my list.
She's on what, your guest list for your cake and
no, just
cake or
one
whatever
day
it is?
one day I would just like to speak to her.
Ah, well, let's
Because
hope
I feel like when
somebody lets her in.
I feel like when you've been given the opportunity to be an influencer or a role model, that you should not just take it lightly, that you should take it important. And when you know that you got a bunch of little girls following you and want to look up to you, that you should take responsibility for that role that you walk in and use it for a greater purpose. But that's just me.
Well, and I'm sure that Beyonce does within her world lots of charitable things and the like. We ask this same question every week at the end of the show, especially after people have opened up to us the way that you have. Despite the troubles that you hear about in your circles, in your dinners, why do you still believe in people?
Well, I'm going to go back to the Bible. When God created everything, he said everything was good. And God created all of us, and I believe that there is good in everybody, despite what they do and what they say. Even how people have treated me, there is good inside of every person. And I will keep praying and helping and believing that everybody, the good in everybody, is going to eventually come out one day. I know that there is evil in this world, but I'm like the Care Bears. That good that's inside of me can overshadow any evil.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And when's your next dinner?
Well, the next thing I got geared up, I'm actually moving to go to Durham. Have you heard of Durham, North Carolina?
Of course. Mm-hmm.
I am taking Cake, Coffee, and Conversation on the road, March the 25th. We're going to be in the Durham area, so I'm working on that now.
Fantastic.
So that is my next. Well, thank you. I'm excited.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for making a difference.
Thank y'all for having me. Thank y'all so much.
Absolutely. Such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Well, Kev, I know that in this conversation that we had with OKeiyas, we were missing Darlene Frink. And yet, we're sorry that she wasn't feeling well today. But what I find is really interesting is that they're making more of an impact than they think, because it was Marvin Frink, which is who we had on as a guest a while ago with his wife, that he was the one that was so impressed with the work that With My Sisters was doing that he said had to have them on. So there you go. So they are making a difference. They are raising others to lead a more empowering life, and it's just really, welcome to the circle. That's what I say. It's fabulous.
And it's a generational thing. Every generation has had this kind of experience. And perhaps this generation, the one that we're living in now, the one that we're going to be handing things off to, perhaps, they need, as she just told us, they also need some freedom from the bondage that hangs on to everyone. And if you want to listen to more conversations like this one, perhaps find your own path to freedom, then please subscribe to our little effort here, Believe in People. And we will see you again next week, where we meet someone else with another wonderful story. Thank you.
Thank you.